Hi, today I'm going to continue maximum likelihood estimation, which is a statistical method used to estimate the parameters of a probability distribution by finding the parameter values that maximize the likelihood function, which represents the probability of observing the given data. In a simplified form, it can be considered that maximum likelihood or MLE seeks the parameter values that make the observed data most likely to have occurred. So this is also quite commonly used in data analysis purpose. So if you want to understand the basic idea of maximum likelihood, then you can say you need to build a tree based on a mathematical model where you can find a tree based on the probability calculations that best accounts for the large amount of variations of the data or sequences set. It performs the analysis on each position of the multiple alignment, and of course it needs higher CPU capacities. Now, if you want to understand the application or examples of MLE, maximum likelihood, then you can understand in different way. Like before you go for application part, you need to understand the basic understanding, challenges and considerations like log likelihood and logarithmic applications to logistic regressions. Now, how can you and where can you implement this maximum likelihood or MLE? So if you have or you want to develop the model, mathematical model, then you need to have the data in the first step, then models, and then you need to go for parameter estimation where you need to apply MLE, and then application models, for example, health sector. And then there are three major paradigms of estimating the linear models, and MLE is one of them. For example, method of moments. Oldest estimation method, population moments, are the best estimated by sample moments. List squares minimize the sum of the squared errors. Then it is MLE or maximum likelihood, which find the model which has the highest probability of producing the observed data or the data close to the predicted data, that is called maximum likelihood. Now, there are main features such as consistent, asymptotically normally distributed, then asymptotically efficient and invariant. So what you need to understand how this maximum likelihood could work. So before that, you need to understand the project where you are going to implement such kind of estimation algorithm. And once you understand that is types of data and the goal or objective of the project, then you need to go for some kind of labeling and then convergence, final output and applications. So here you can find the parameters that maximize the likelihood and then label them the known or observed data. Then one step optimization is required and then final outcome, logistic regression, and if you want to apply for some other purpose, then there will be some other kind of approaches. Now, assume that probability p equal to 0.22 in the model, which you can see normal probability of the model here in the sample distribution. And then when you are showing what is the probability that the sample proportions are at least 0.26. So if you are here, then area is the probability, this dark area, blue dark area. What is this area? Find the area using a standard normal curve. This comes from an applet or other technology. And the probability here, it shows for this part 0.25. And the way in which you can go for such probability calculation, these are the simple mathematical relations or equations which you can use it. Now, it comes to the multiple regression, which I have explained earlier, that multiple linear regression, you need to understand linear regression, then it comes to multiple linear regression. So if you are talking about multiple linear regression, I am not going anymore for the definition part, but I'm going to present you some of the sample figures, how it may look like for multiple regression. Then these are some of the lines. And here, this is from nature method, where one of the paper has shown different types of regressions. For example, here uncorrelated predictors in A, then regression of the uncorrelated predictors, then here correlated predictors, then regression for the correlated predictors. So what you need to be aware, some of the terms, for example, weight on height, weight on jump height, then regression, linear regression, and the linear equations. If you understand these things, then it is quite easy to implement and go for predictions of by using the equations in any sample which you are going to analyze. Now, multiple linear regression is similar to simple linear regression, with the exception that it uses several explanatory variables which are independent instead of one to predict the outcome of the response variable that is dependent. So here the goal is to model the relationship between multiple variables, and those multiple variables are independent as well as dependent, and the independent variables you can see could be many, more than two. Then here, this is some of the example where you can implement MLR or multiple linear regression. So what is the multiple linear regression and where it can be applied, and what are the pros or applications of multiple linear regression? So this is a statistical means used extensively to model the relationship between different variables. It determines the relationship between the dependent and independent variables. It is an extension of simple linear regression. It adds in making prediction and conclusion regarding the involved components. It is based on ordinary least squares. It helps in making a statistical prediction of the components. Now, linear regressions, I'm just showing some of the re repeated examples, the types of regressions and the common application. For example, linear regression, logistic regression, Poisson regression. Linear regression, econometric modeling, marketing mix model, customer lifetime values. And it is kind of continuous. The equations are here, which is quite simple. Then 1 unit increase in X increases Y by alpha, which you can see here. Now, logistic regression is applied in customer choice model, click-through rate, conversion rate, credit scoring. And continuous, it is continuous true or false. It can be. The equations are slightly different, and one unit increase in X increases log odds by alpha. So it is slightly different from linear regression. And of course, the plot will be also different. Now it comes to Poisson's distribution. Number of